Gentlemen, today we are talking about the things that kept me small. And I've been working out for about 15 years, and today I just threw together some things that I feel like held me back on my progress, and just some mistakes that I made over the years, so that hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and you can be a couple years ahead of me. That's ultimately the goal here, because I want you to be in better physical shape. So please come in. Learn from my mistakes. The Brofessor is here. Class is in session. So I got the PowerPoint, obviously. So please take notes and let's go through the things that kept me small. So in today's video, we're going to cover a few broad topics. We're going to talk about nutrition, level of effort, beach muscles, extracurriculars, having a plan, and belief. Everything in that slide. Okay. So first thing I just want to touch on real quick is that being big is not necessarily about physical size. Okay. You feel me? Come here. You can actually be big without being physically large. All right. Hear me out on this. See it all the time. Guys in the gym, kind of on the, I'm not sure if he was a boxer. If these gentlemen were in a boxing class, probably be in the featherweight division. In the mirror, hitting poses, sending Snapchats, doing the Riz, right? I love to see it. Get out there, flex. It doesn't matter, man. It's about up here, which is why we're going to talk about belief later, and it's so important. Being big is a state of mind. And you need to be big up here before you can actually become big, embodied in physical form. And just so you know, there's levels of bigness to being big. Okay, there's buddy, which gets you up to like 170 pounds, and then bro is really from like 170 to 190, and boss is right around that 200 mark. And then once you get like above 200 and you're in like anything above 215, that's when everybody starts calling you big dog. That's a good time, okay? And if you really need one in a pinch, you can get a big card from somebody who's 200 plus. All right, so biggest thing that kept me small is not bulking. Really just not focusing on nutrition in general, but yes, not bulking. I ate healthy, but healthy-ish. But I never really truly went on a bulk. I didn't track. And tracking, I think, is really important. It is possible to bulk without actually tracking each calories. Like, you can do it, but it's a lot harder. Really, the only other way to do it, in my opinion, doing it effectively, is by eating the exact same thing every single day, and then just making sure you eat that same thing and tracking your weight. And then if your weight's not changing, then you're not eating enough, so then you can add like a little bit more to the same thing you're eating each day. But it's very hard to do. For me, the best thing to do is I track all my calories on MyFitnessPal. And if you want to get into it, here's a challenge. I know it's a lot right off the bat. Like, it's hard to just jump right into it. So here's just a way you can tiptoe into tracking your calories and tracking your macros. Download the app, and then just input one singular meal and tell me how it goes. Just input one meal, tell me how it goes, put it in the comments. What was the macros on your one meal? Boom. Then if you do that, you're like 25% or 30% of one day done. But just do it once, see how it goes. So there has been plenty of times where I said the lines that I hear these lines all the time now, and I said them 10 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm just trying to gain weight, right? Like I'm trying to gain weight. But I'm just a hard gainer. Or back in the day, it was really popular, like the ectomorphs and mesomorphs, and I'm an ectomorph. That's why I'm skinny. You're skinny because you're not eating enough. I'm telling you that because I care. That's it. And there's a lot of anti-bulking propaganda on Instagram for some reason. You don't need that. And if you want me to react to any anti-bulking propaganda reels, my Instagram is down in the thing there, the description. Send me some hilarious reels on Instagram, and I'll react to them in a video. But don't listen to the anti-bulking propaganda. There's people on there saying that, don't do it because then if you bulk, you're going to gain fat. So that's fine. It's for most dudes, for most people, I can't speak for women because I'm not one, but I can speak for dudes. Okay. For most dudes, adding muscle is the hard part. Adding new good tissue, that is hard. Like you have to force your body into submission and make it grow. You have to do a CT Fletcher. I command you to grow. You have to force it. Cutting fat off is easy. You just eat less, and you still train intense. You do pretty much the same things. You just got to be consistent with it. Okay, and that's the other thing is with the whole weight gain and everything. Weight gain over a short period of time is doable, but you need to do it long term. Like I don't think 30 days or 60 days is long enough to bulk. Like I really think you need to be in a bulk a long-ish time, at least 6 months, to let the muscles mature and kind of grow into that muscle, and then you're going to retain a lot more of it when you go to cut it off. Okay, so don't listen to the anti-bulking propaganda who say that losing fat is the hard part. Dude, it's easy. Okay, you bulk for a year and add a ton of fat. You lose all the fat in 3 months. You'd be shredded out of your gourd in 3 months. But it took a year to force the weight onto you. Cutting is the easy part. Okay, so the other thing that I was not doing, not training hard enough. And over the course of my lifting career, there's been many, I've had lots of fluctuations in my training style and just the amount of effort that I put out. It's just kind of natural, right? Like when I was brand new in the military, we did this challenge. It was the EOD Memorial Challenge, and it involved like a 6-mile run and like a 2-mile ruck, which is like running with a weighted backpack, and then a half-mile swim through the bay. And after doing all that crap, we got back to the dorms. I was hanging out with the boys, and you know what I said? Come here. You know what I said? I said, that was fun. Let's go to the gym. Boom. Yeah. Went to the gym after that. Okay. But that was when I was 22 or 23. And then there's been times where, I thought I was training hard enough, but really didn't. To be honest, from 2020 to 2023, I really didn't train that hard. I was 2020 to 2022, I was a train to moderate discomfort kind of guy. Most days I didn't even break a sweat in the gym. And to be honest, I do think that's actually a pretty good indicator if you're actually pushing hard enough. Are you physically breaking a sweat? If you're not sweating in the gym, there's two reasons. A, you're not trying hard enough, or B, like you have cut down to a point where now your body fat is so low and like you're cold, and it is harder to break a sweat when you're at a much lower body fat. But for most people, it's just because they're not trying hard enough. So the note I have on here, a lot of guys are worried about overtraining when they should be worried about even training. That's something that I say. You hear the overtraining thing thrown around quite a bit. But I'm more in the camp of, I saw this Rich Piana shirt that said there's no such thing as overtraining. There's only under eating and under sleeping. And to me, I completely agree with that sentiment. I think that if you're taking a really, really long time to recover from your workouts, I don't think that your workout, dialing back the intensity of your workout, that's not the first place you should go to. I think the first things you should analyze are, am I eating enough and am I sleeping enough? And and am I drinking enough water? Chances are you're not, probably. If you're like taking a week and a half to recover from a leg day, did you stay up till 2 a.m.? Did you drink a bunch of alcohol? Whatever. So you really got to focus on those other two bits first before you think about pulling back your training. And I have this other note on here that you may not have the CNS ability to train hard enough to overtrain. And this particularly applies to newer lifters. A lot of newer lifters, in the first couple of years, there's a good chance that you haven't built up those pathways enough. So you really don't even have the ability to shock your nervous system to the point of overtraining, unless you're kind of like a genetic freak and you're just doing 10 1-rep maxes in a workout. Yeah, there's a good chance you could mess yourself up from that. For most people, I was just a very average, normal, 170 pound 5'9" guy, right? So I think that was really falls right in the median area. And I don't think I had every time where I felt like I was overtraining. If I think back, it was really I was not eating properly or sleeping properly. So that's what I got to say about that. The other thing on here that I think kept me small looking was ignoring shoulders. So I think it's really important, especially if you're coming at this from either if you're coming at it from a bodybuilding perspective or just a lot of times I say bodybuilding, I mean just, we're recreational bodybuilders, right? I'm not a competitor, but we are fans of the sport maybe, right? We are recreational bodybuilders. We are going to the gym to try to look bigger and get bigger muscles. So I think it's okay to call that bodybuilding. I did not work my side delts for years or really my overhead press much. I've gotten into it a lot more lately, both of those things. But I think that ignoring those completely made me just from the front have a very rounded and kind of flat physique where now I have a little bit more width on me, I think, because I actually started focusing on those. So I would say make sure you're not ignoring the shoulders. Really actually give them some attention. Your side delts, small delts really hurt the overall look, which I think is what it did for me. And your side delts are a really small muscle, but they, every little tiny bit of muscle that you add to your side delt, it's literally adding width to the frame, to width of how you see you, right? So if, I'm sitting here, if I add an inch on my biceps, you really can't tell much. But if I added, an inch of mass onto my shoulders, well, then my entire body frame just got wider by 2 inches. Hopefully that makes sense. So I think you should focus on, make sure you don't ignore the important beach muscles. Delts, bis for the guys, tris for the guys, and thighs also for the guys. Other thing a lot of people are doing, I think this is something that I was doing a lot that was keeping me small. Crushing the BOOZE, crushing a lot of it. Ripping it is not good. Not good for you. I did it, and it's just very unhealthy. I think that it really just stalls out your progress. I haven't touched any in a while. Everyone I think has to go through their own phases in life. It is what it is, but in my opinion, I think you should just stay away from it completely. I don't really have any desire to right now. I put out so much effort into working out and, eating correctly 4 or 5 times a day, and then, making sure, putting all this energy into making sure I can fall asleep on time and get in bed and get a good night's sleep, that I don't want to do anything that takes me out of, or that undoes any of that work. So I don't even think about it anymore. But anyways, this was me a couple years ago with the Z06. I didn't always dress like that. I think I did wear this outfit to the gym a couple times, but I mostly just did this for the laughs, this outfit. But man, I miss that car. It was sick. Yeah, so there was excessive consumption there was partying, and really you're staying up late, you're drinking. It's a real double whammy because you're taxing your system with the alcoholic or adult beverages, right? And you're probably also staying up really late. So it's like a double whammy. You're hurting your body, and you're staying up late. You're not recovering, and then you're up at 7 the next day on the Stairmaster, trying to sweat it all out. Been there. Not a good time. Next thing that kept me small was, I think, not training with a plan. There was a very long period of time, a couple years, on and off, where I didn't even have a plan. Like there was, when I was going to the gym, I wouldn't even know what body part I was going to work out, or didn't have any idea. And I think there's some degree of this is okay, kind of like winging it a little bit. Like at least you should know that, well, today's leg day, and I'm probably going to do one of these main pushing movements. I don't know which one yet, but I'm going to do one of them. And then maybe the accessories, I'll just kind of wing that. I think that's fine. But there was years where I did not have a plan at all. I would like drive to the gym and be like, what do I want to do today? I guess I'll, work out my back. But I also just, I've always just enjoyed working out. Even this whole time, the whole 15 years I've been working out, I didn't even take a whole week off. I never took more than a couple days off. I've always liked working out. I just take it a lot more seriously now. So if you fail to plan, you will plan to fail. And that's kind of words of wisdom we used to live by. If you don't have some kind of plan of attack, it's not going to work out for you. The other thing is, I think it's really important to try out new strategies, try out new workout techniques, new workout plans. You want to do 5x5 for a while. You want to do Dorian Yates lifting for a while. You want to do, like one set pushing to failure. You want to do Sam Sulek style for a little while. Good. But don't change it up every week. Like, give it a few weeks to really start working, because there's multiple layers to doing an exercise. Like squats, for example, you have the technical proficiency of being able to perform the movement and actually being technical and learning the different cues and the balance and actually being good at the physical exercise. And then there's the other level of what's my strength in this exercise and what's my strength at, and there's also tiers of rep ranges as well. Like now I'm working at the 3 rep max rep range, right? Because a 3 rep max rep range is going to take a different, a little bit of different technique than doing a 20 rep max. So there's all these different layers of techniques, and if you just change your entire strategy, week by week or every 2 weeks, you're not really going to give your body enough time to adapt and get good at that particular thing you're trying to do. So, give it some time. It's tough to balance. You want to balance variation, but also getting technically proficient. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Last thing, I did not believe. And yes, I think belief is really important. If you think you're going to stay small forever because of your genetics, you'll never train hard enough to find out if you're wrong, right? Just think about it. If you go into the gym thinking, I have some sort of limitation on me, right? It's like my genetics or my bone structure or my insertions are bad, or, I don't know. I don't suffer from this, but maybe you're just ugly, right? I'm just kidding, right? It's a joke. If you go into the gym feeling like there's some kind of thing that's going to be holding you back forever, you are not going to train hard enough to actually make a difference. You have to force your body to change. You have to force it, and then you have to feed it, and then you have to rest. And to do all those things at the intensity needed, you have to truly believe that you can change the way you look. Okay, so you have to believe you can change your physical appearance, and you have to stay consistent, because these things just take time. If it was super easy to just go in the gym and get jacked, there would be jacked people everywhere. All right, that's all I got for you today. I got to drink my pre-workout and go crush some legs. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If there's something else that you want to see, make sure you go down, throw it in the comments section below, and I'll see you in the next video.